Hey everyone, Dave here from JKP Holdings. Nathan Turner and I sit down this week with Matt Kelley, who has an extensive knowledge of note investing. But this week's a little different. We're not talking notes. We're actually talking post foreclosure REOs. You're going to be able to buy real estate after the auction, but before it becomes REO. You'll know the upset bid on properties, and there's a lot of these opportunities. These aren't assets that nobody wanted. These are assets that actually got bid on and they sold at the auction steps, but you have the ability to actually buy it out from underneath them. Take a look at it. Feel free to make comments and questions, but enjoy. Hey everyone, Dave Putz here. Welcome to the program on Friday afternoon. I'm here alongside Mr. Nathan Turner, who's doing a little bit of moving around right now.
Technically, I'm homeless at the moment.
So
actually, I'm not. My house on the other side of the country.
Gotcha. You're just not there.
It's one hell of a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Dave, you just muted yourself.
Yep. So I wanted to just start off with the fact that we came up with this idea, quote unquote, sitting in Vegas, listening to someone that we respect highly talk about this new thing out there that we understood to a point. We want to get clarity, and we felt that the best way of doing this is seriously having to explain to us, but not just to us. We wanted to share with everyone else. So without further ado, Matt, we respect you a lot in this industry. How did you get started, for those who don't know you? How did you get involved with this without going 20 years into the past too much? Just some basic information, and then how did you shift gears a little bit, or why did you shift gears?
Well, as an introduction again, my name is Matt Kelley, and I'm the owner of a company called www.afterauctionbid.com, and that's some of the things we'll be talking about today. Dave knows me, Nathan knows me, and a lot of people know me within this industry as I've been around for many years. Originally, the vast majority of them know me as being a foreclosure trustee, and that means that I was the one enforcing the creditor rights. In the event somebody acquired a non-performing mortgage or deed of trust and they wanted to enforce their rights as to the money that was owed in various states, because some states require different processes. The ones I was involved in were referenced as being non-judicial. So again, the foreclosure trustee is the one that would enforce those rights, and one of two scenarios would happen. Either you get your money or you get the property back. We're going to talk about a little bit about that process today because I'm still involved, but in fact, I'm after all that stuff happens. I'm going to be talking about how Dave and I still, to this day, have many similarities. I love notes. I still invest in notes. I'm a big fan of notes, as I have been on many, many years. But as the environment changes, as the market changes, additional opportunities can and do arise. So I'm flexible enough to be able to capitalize those on as well. And I'll be talking about the system that I created for myself and have shared with some other individuals as well. And we'll be talking extensively about today. So being a foreclosure trustee, that means I also believe in what I do. And that means I have invested and do invest personally and heavily within notes and mortgages, and have done so nationwide. Now, that's not something that I really do that much now. And why it is that I've had so much success within that space, but even transition away from it, is not blaming circumstances, as note and mortgage investing does tend to be an element-driven event, as there's various things that can cause notes and mortgages to become available. I'm happy to talk about some of those things, but quite honestly, Dave and I are pretty familiar with them, and he's already seen me present on that subject many, many times. So
for those who don't know Matt, he's a wealth of knowledge, right? Sometimes over the top knowledge, which is good for those people who want the information. The problem is most times you don't understand it. And I think this area, people will understand a whole lot better than the note side of things, which is more legal. It's more complex. Where the REO side is a fix and flip. Most people are familiar with it.
And that's the background that I came from, is again, more the legal side and notes and mortgages, very technical, very nuanced, and very niche. almost none of which I have to worry about anymore. With what I do now, as Dave and I will talk about, there's a lot of things that we do within this industry that have overlapping similarities. And that is primarily, again, sometimes we end up with the property. And how that takes place is through the foreclosure process, Dave enforcing his creditor rights. In various states, it takes various timelines. None of that really applies, because with what I'm talking about today, it requires no licensure. I can ask any questions I want. There requires no disclaimers because I'm not a debt collector. I'm actually a third party to the entirety of the process, and everything that I do creates more money for subordinate lien holders and essentially the homeowner as well. And I really feel it does good things, as that was the intent, because what I'm talking about today is a right. It's not a hustle. It's actually a right. In the state of California, it's referenced as SB 1079. It is currently only in place within the state of California. It is expected to be voted into the state of Nevada in their next voting session, but currently this only applies to the state of California. For anybody cringing and saying, well, I'd never buy within the state of California. Well, my opinion on everything is that it is no longer when one purchases, because everything tends to be extremely high price nationwide right now. It's not when you purchase. It's not where you purchase. There's not one area that I feel is infinitely better than another that has so much less risk because the prices are going to go up within that particular area or even opportunity zones. I strongly do not believe that. What I do believe is it's not where you purchase. It's not when you purchase. It's how one purchases. And that's creating opportunity, being able to buy for less than market value. And again, what I'm talking about is a right. And I'll do some live examples to show exactly how and why this takes place. The laws that I'm referencing, SB 109, creates the right to purchase a property after a foreclosure sale, but for the foreclosure sale price or more. And this is available to individuals like myself, Dave, and many others, because to be eligible for this, and please note that these are not unwanted properties. These are properties that sold at the foreclosure sale, as they do for many, many reasons. Some of which they may have been the individual that got foreclosed on had bad legal counsel, circumstances afforded it. They may have read a blog somewhere and got bad advice. They may have passed away years ago. It may have been an unaffordable circumstance. Whatever the circumstances happen to be, we end up where we're at today. Not everything is a good deal, but the vast majority of them do tend to be absolute steals. And quite honestly, my problem and why I'm doing this is I have like less than 1% of capital needed to purchase the opportunities that I encounter. It's something where I have daily inventory, as everyone does that subscribes to the website. I have unlimited inventory because there are foreclosure sales every single day, and there's more every single day. And some of them do happen to be very, very good deals. And again, I'm going to be showing you some live examples today and walking through the website, how it works and what takes place.
Awesome. So for those who may be getting started, this is an easier pathway than buying a note. This is literally buying a brick and mortar REO property off market that someone else wanted, and you're outbidding them in the process.
And they have an inability to bid against me. My money actually trumps their money, as it's available to me because I'm either a prospective owner occupant or a California nonprofit. And I'll stress how it is that extreme profits can still be made while still remaining a nonprofit. And it's actually exceptionally easy. But I'm going to do a quick little presentation as to this subject, so we can show everyone kind of some of the things as to what's involved. Let's go. Yeah. So again, it's afterauctionbid.com. There's also a separate Facebook group, references afterauctionbid.com. Oh, so there's, again, daily updates. We do provide quite a bit of information that's available. How this works: as eligible bidders, as defined by the law, have the right to bid on a subject real property after the scheduled foreclosure sale. Essentially, me as an investor will be taking the place of the courthouse steps as if I was there when this took place. This is something to where it's taken place because it's exceptionally difficult for especially a small investor, whether it be a prospective owner occupant or nonprofit, to actually show up to the California courthouse steps anywhere within the state of California at the right day, at the right time, with the right amount of money. But that's no longer the case. I now have 45 days to do my research to find out if I do want to buy this property. I can talk to the neighbors. I can talk to anybody that's occupying the property, real estate agents. I can do any and all types of research that I could possibly want to do. And again, I do not need any licensure to do this in any way, shape, or form. So this process and what the website does is we aggregate the entirety of the sales results for the state of California, put them in one easy location with some basic data in relation to the property. And also we have some research materials available for purchase to individuals, such as the title report. We make that available for the low cost of $25. And with a release that's soon to take place, we're actually going to bundle them and make them less expensive. So I do know there's a lot of people out there that pay significantly more for title reports. I just don't believe in profiting in that way. So I've made them available near cost at $25 a pop. So this form and what we provide the instructions for is not only all the data in regards to the properties that are available, but we also provide the documentation that is required to be eligible for this process. And that's submitting what's called a notice of intent. This can be submitted electronically directly to the foreclosure trustees. You can ask them any question you want. Doesn't mean they have to answer them. They're probably not going to, but you have to submit this within 10 days of the actual foreclosure sale taking place. This notice is non-binding. You can submit as many of these as you like in regards to as many properties as one likes, and one is not required to purchase it. This notice of intent does not include any financial ability to acquire said property. Essentially, it expresses one's intent to buy, not your ability to purchase. Again, is there any advantage to submitting this on the first day versus the 15th day? The answer is absolutely not. You can submit it at any time in any way that is most convenient for, well, everyone here. But I said the term prospective owner occupant, that's somebody that wants to actually occupy the property. Not quite, actually, but it is defined within the law. It just means a natural person that they intend to occupy the property within a certain number of days. But there is a little caveat within the law, says a prospective owner occupant shall not be in violation of this section if there's any reason that they can't move into it. Notice how none of these say, including being a California nonprofit, one does not need to be a resident within the state of California. One can live anywhere within the United States and own a California nonprofit. I do strongly recommend, and it takes a day or two to open a California nonprofit to get recognized by the IRS. That can take several months. But again, one does not have to have the tax ID number from the IRS to be recognized as a nonprofit to start. One just has to be recognized by the state of California. It takes a day or two, and within the next week or so, I'm going to have somebody be presenting on the subject within the Facebook group afterauctionbid.com. So eligible bidder is most often again, where's there, an eligible nonprofit corporation based in California, which is, again, that's a California nonprofit with an address within California. That can be a lot of things, including a PO box, essentially, whose primary activity is the development and preservation of affordable rental housing. I do want to emphasize that if one acquires a property, as I'll talk about some of the ones that I've acquired as well, there are no deed restrictions, there's no volume restrictions, there's no time restrictions. I can buy on day one, I can sell on day two, buying under market with sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars of instant equity. I can sell it on day two for anything that I want. There's no occupancy restrictions, there's no sales restrictions. So again, I can sell at any time imposed upon any subsequent sales of the property when purchased by a California nonprofit. So additional questions or concerns, can the winning bidder at the foreclosure sale bid against me? The answer is no. Even if somebody showed up to the courthouse steps and they bought it, they are ineligible to buy this. My money trumps theirs, as they are a for-profit company, an LLC, a REIT, or a hedge fund. Is there a penalty for not funding or not placing the bid? The answer is also no. I can submit as many notices as I like, and if I don't bid after submitting these, there's no consequence and no money required when submitting this notice of intent. It costs me nothing. There's no down payment. There's nothing. And if one actually submits an actual bid that takes place in the form of certified funds at the end of the timeline, what happens if you don't win? The trustee immediately returns your funds. That's as complicated as it gets. They don't even cash your check. Is there anything stopping from somebody again submitting a lot of them? No, do as much as you like, especially if one is a nonprofit. Are there third-party biddies? Are third-party bidders not bidding on the courthouse steps as a result of this law? Is everyone now doing this? The answer is, of course, no. Properties are still selling on the courthouse steps, but quite honestly, the companies and entities, the REITs, the hedge funds, the LLCs that were purchasing on the courthouse steps, not only still are, but they're not engaging in the process that I'm talking about, not because they don't know about it. They do, but they're ineligible. And their funding and financing does not allow them to purchase as nonprofits. So this is an opportunity designed explicitly for investors such as myself, and of course, prospective owner occupants as well, to create some affordable housing. And can, of course, financing be used to purchase? The answer is, of course, yes. But it's very difficult because we're still talking about essentially certified funds taking place as the form of one's bid.
Wow.
So my contact information is right here with my email address, matt@afterauctionbid.com, and my direct phone number. I actually need to update it because that's my old number. I apologize about that. I did post it in your group though.
Cool.
So that is available there, and I will post it in other places.
So how long has this been available to investors generally?
A little bit over a year.
Okay. Why do you
So
think
this is a very, very new, this is essentially the newest way to acquire property, especially within the state of California. You want to dive in and look at some of them, and we'll talk about it as we go through?
It's amazing that the hedge funds and stuff haven't gone there yet. And the fact
It's not that they have an inability to, is traditionally their financing doesn't allow them to, let's say, fund a nonprofit, because we said, how the hell can this be profit? How do I do this, especially as nonprofit? I want to make profits. Well, quite honestly, my LLC does fund and gives a loan to my nonprofit. And sometimes as these things can be turned over very quickly, I do want to mention that if my LLC does loan money to the nonprofit in which I'm involved, well, usury limits do not apply because it is a business purpose loan. So I can loan that money at extremely high interest rates, sometimes hundreds of percent of interest, and that is 100% legal. While the nonprofit would remain non-profitable, my LLC, of course, can absorb the vast majority of that and would be paying taxes only on the interest in which it's receiving. And can can somebody that has, let's say, an IRA, can they loan money to a nonprofit? The answer is, of course, yes. Loaning to their own, that's when we go into self-dealing, and that can be problematic. Please talk to one's accountant, as I'm not giving legal or tax advice, as I do want to emphasize that, especially today.
Yes.
But we said, let's get into and let's talk. And Dave, you're expected to give some feedback too.
Nathan, go ahead, Nathan.
So quick question is there any concern? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay, so is there any concern that, like, it kind of seems like these are sort of backdoor approaches. Is there any concern that those back doors will be closed, or there?
No, the law has
regulation that will come in.
No, the law has actually been put into effect going to 2030. So it's going to be around for a very long time. It was originally 2025. It's already been extended. It is doing everything that it was intended to. And what I mean by that is it's providing opportunity for others when it was not there previously. Companies like the REITs, the hedge funds, and the LCs, they have a fiduciary duty to sell properties for as much as they possibly can. Whereas an individual, myself, in the business of course, affordable housing and providing opportunity to others, I can buy properties and actually sell them sometimes very quickly, and doing so, selling it for less than what the property's worth, a quick sale price. And in doing so, provides a little bit of room for others down the line to be able to perhaps build affordable housing, to be able to provide housing for first-time homeowners, you name it. There's individuals I know, there's at least in the last couple months, I think it was the last 2 months, about 15 houses have been purchased by individuals that have never done this before through our website. And I'm very, very proud of that. And some of whom, many of which are friends. I've essentially done zero advertising in regards to this website. It's very new, to be very honest, as Dave is also aware. But I'm not looking to make this the biggest website that are out there. I've made it available to some friends and some people within this industry that are always good individuals. So we're not looking to try to get this thing as big as possible and get as many subscribers. Again, like I have for many years, I make my money by actually by being an investor, but we've made this available to others. So you guys want to see what we have?
Yeah, let's do it.
You got it. All right, so we're going to be doing some updates as we always. So of course, just how it works. This is the basic explanation as to submitting the notice of intent, the qualifications as to how one may be eligible. So we already went over. And of course, some very basic descriptions as how to review title, estimating home values and repairs, determining financing. But hey, we got some professionals here. So let's go to the main part of the website, which is the actual listings. And of course, we have a lot of people online right now. So this is a little bit slower than it would be otherwise. But these properties, again, already went to sale. There is no redemption. There is no homeowner that's going to come in and save the property or do something else. This is what I pitch as going down to the track and trying to pick the winning racehorse after the race has already taken place. Because I am going through via this website, as we've taken all the sales results from many different auctioneers that are out there in every single county that's out there and consolidated them to one place with certain information. And I can see like this property over in Oxnard that went to sale for $285, $401, but the property value is over 511. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And there are what we make available for purchase is let's see, where it's not image not available, but of course I can just go on Google Maps, Zillow, whatever else. I have 45 days to do this, 15 days to submit my notice of intent. So I can call local realtors and get their opinion of this. If you're like living in somewhere in the Midwest and you think this is not a $510,000 property, it actually is, especially in Southern California. And we can look at all the comps and just do anything we could possibly want to do. I can go talk to people there. And again, I'm not a debt collector. I don't need to do any disclaimers, disclosures, and no licensures involved because I am literally a third party just looking to do it. And why this went to sale, keep in mind, it does not matter to me, as all I care about is that it did go to sale. And we have, again, available through the website for purchase for $25 is that somebody can also go and pull up. Can you see the title report? As I think I need to switch screens.
Yep.
See here.
Yeah, not showing up.
Yep. Let me do that real quick.
And for remind everyone, if there's any issues or problems, you rewind. This will be posted on our YouTube channel. We're recording on our Zoom right now. So we'll be posting on the YouTube channel and whatnot. So if you miss anything or want to rewind, we're learning a lot here. Please feel free to go back.
So this is a $25 title report that we have available. If somebody wants a lot of title reports that are not in California, not through a website, contact me. It's maybe something we can do. But anyway, this is made available from First American through their data tree program. A lot of people use it, including people that sell title reports for much, much, much more expensive. And I see that this is the $190,000 lien. This is the first mortgage. This is the only mortgage that's on the property. So if I buy this, I own it free and clear. So this is and was a first position mortgage. Somebody may have acquired this. It actually wasn't a private investor. This is an institutional lender that had this, did not sell the note because they didn't want to sell the note for all the reasons that we're familiar with, Dave. But nonetheless, that is this one particular property that just went to sale yesterday. Let's see here. Anyway, so that's a first position lien, free and clear. I can determine my value. I will generate this form right now, because this is the form I need to submit with the instructions and where and how to submit this. And this is the exact form that I will be submitting. And just because we're here, I'm just going to print this out, but that's all I need to do. And I submit that to the trustee, then I become eligible to purchase it. And all I need to do now is in the next 45 days, figure out if I want to buy it and for what price. And by the way, the website does not take your money. We're not in the middle of this. We're not escrowing things on your behalf. We're not controlling your bid or telling you what to bid. We're providing the data and the tools for people to do this themselves. There's too much liability if we were to do all of that. And as an investor, I would want to deal directly, because the people that one is technically buying this from, the homeowners are not involved. and no lender is involved with it being able to approve this purchase price or not. It's a right. I have the right to buy this for any price over $285,401. And this is not an exceptional property. I'm just going to go back to the listings and we're going to see that. And again, not everything's a good deal. Like this one went for 818,000 and the property values in the high sevens. That may have gone to sale for the total amount that's owed. But again, this 285, less was owed. Somebody bought that at foreclosure sale for that price, and they're probably ecstatic about it. And I see other ones, and some of these are crazy prices. Again, up in Los Angeles, 2.1 million, but the property's worth just under 3.5. All right, not bad. But it's worth checking because, like, I did check on this one. There's this property up another one in Los Angeles. It went for sale for 212, but the estimated values in the high eights. All right, that one's actually a second mortgage, and the first one's pretty darn high. I think that one's actually a third.
So for those people,
vast majority of these are firsts.
Is there a way to tell if it's first or second, or
run a title report, pay $25.
Right. It's awesome. So those who don't understand that the fact that you may see something really low bid, you need to pull a title to see if that's a first or a second. You don't be stuck situation thinking you're buying the whole property and all liens are cleared out, and you're actually still subject to the first lien.
Yeah. And of course, when one buys these properties, can you do a seller carryback loan? Absolutely. Can you do many of the creative financing? The answer is also absolutely yes. Yeah, let's see here. And again, some of these properties, there's something screwy with in terms of Zillow, so that Zillow didn't automatically pull. But these are ones where, again, I don't know any other way within the state of California to buy for as a right, again, not a hustle, because I personally don't like the strategies of just sending out a ton of yellow letters saying I'll buy your house cash, call me any condition, as essentially those usually are convincing people to sell oneself property for less than what is owed, or elderly individuals that don't know the value of their property or essentially what they're doing. A lot of times it's considered taking advantage of people. This is actually, these are individuals that already lost their house. And in buying it in this manner would actually create more money available to them. So it actually does good things for everyone that's involved. Well, other than the LLCs, the REITs, and the hedge funds that thought they got a screaming deal because F them. So we're getting this other property, Dunsmuir is, I mean, it's sold for 120. The property value is about 260. And we go through North Hollywood. So these properties are sometimes in fantastic areas. And if it's kind of going, well, I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw at this. Well, we also have searching capacity. We can do it within certain price range, but we can also sort by property, by the actual price in which it went to sale. So in searching, I see that there are properties that went to sale. This one, 67,000, 72, 75. This one's actually a great deal out in Barstow. I do remember that one. This is a property, quite honestly, I plan on bidding on. This is a piece of junk out in Barstow, California. And let's see if I can show that. Let's see here. Let's just go to Google Maps.
So while you're doing that, someone asked if you can get 24-hour title reports in other states as well.
Yeah, give me a call. I can walk them through it.
All right. Because I know some other competitors will charge much higher, so
significantly higher, but like I said, I'm not looking to screw people over. Yeah, anyway.
And have you found any other states doing any of this, or is California one of the first states while you're looking at
it's
this?
The first state, and Nevada is expected to vote it in their next voting session, but that's it. So like, this is a not exciting property that I would not usually touch with a 10-foot pole. But let's see here. I do see that it went to sale for $78,000. So hold on. Now I'm actually a little bit interested. I did previously do a title search on this one, and it is a first position lien. Again, not excited. This is actually a very recent photo because during the foreclosure process, when the foreclosure company sticks the notice on the door called the notice of sale, they take a picture of it, and usually it's posted on Zillow. So this is actually a very recent photo. Notice boarded up, a piece of junk, but it's a massive lot, and it is valued around 245 in good condition. That's a lie. It's not worth 245. But what I did is I contacted a real estate agent that knows rehabbers in the area, because this is a rehabber's dream. This is everything they want and need. And like I said, I don't think it's worth 245. I don't know exactly what it's worth, but I do know that the rehabber already made me an offer of 125,000. So I know I can buy it for anything over 78. I don't feel I'm going to have really any competition on this particular property because of, well, look at it. And as a result, I think I can buy it for something slightly over 78. And I already have a buyer that I can sell on day 2 for 125.
So we have Bill by mail over on LinkedIn asked, he got here a little late. Yes, this is for nonprofits. Can for-profits do this? But it's not
No.
because they cannot do it. For-profits can't do it, right?
But
And
a
what if
for-profit company can fund a nonprofit.
And he asked, what if multiple people submit? What if you submit, Nathan submits, I submit? What happens?
Perfect question. In the event of multiple bids, highest and best wins. This is the same as standing on the courthouse steps essentially, but is a blind sealed bid. So one can mail in their bid. They can submit it in any way that the trustee will accept it. I personally dropped them off in person, but I usually just mail them in and make sure that they get it on the 45th day, because the 45th day by law at 5 p.m. everything is done and over with. Now, prior to it, it's not. But 5 p.m. 45th day, and very often the trustees won't even open the bids until after 5 p.m. on the 45th day. But in the event of multiple bids, highest and best wins, and all other bids are immediately returned to the people that submitted it. The checks aren't even cashed, they just open them up, see the certified funds, highest one wins, and they send it back to you. Now, I will emphasize, there's different bidding strategies, as I do to protect myself. And I do want to emphasize there's no law that requires the trustee to accept the bid in the manner in which I'm about to describe, but there's also nothing preventing them from doing so. So I've had immense amounts of success with this. On the courthouse steps, and this is essentially in any state, as you've been asked these questions when you take a property to foreclosure sale, Dave, there's different options, one of which is a specified bid. This is a fixed number in which one has and can submit. The next of which is a total debt. This doesn't apply because, again, I'm not a debt collector. I'm not the beneficiary. I'm not the lender. But what does apply is a low high bid. In that, as an example, for this property that went for sale for 85,000, and this is actually a steal because that's a very cute property. It does look like that. I have had somebody check it out already, and it is worth very easily $150,000, if not more, because everything else in the area is significantly higher. Now, this particular property, I can submit a bid in the amount, let's say, of 86,000. And in the event of, I can submit this in written instructions. In the event of competitive bidding, increase my bid by increments of, let's say, $1,000 up to a high bid. And I'll show you as an example, a bid that I did submit and I actually won as well. Let's see, where was that? So this is, let's see here. A bid that I submitted. This is my written instructions, and I provided with it certified funds. And I actually won this property in Buena Park, California. My opening bid, because this sold for $49,000 at the time of trustee sale, property in Buena Park, California, I'm already interested. So my opening bid was $50,000, and my instructions to the foreclosure trustee were, in the event of competitive bidding, to increase my bid by increments of $1,000. My high bid was $102,000. So in the event it went for less than that, I would again be saving that money. Wow. Oddly enough, on this one, the next highest bid actually was $101,000. So I did get it for 102. I was very excited about it. But this property that I purchased, it is in a very desirable area. There we go. Unlike the property I just showed you. This is right across the street from a college. Very nice little cute area. It's actually just a condo, nothing exciting there. But again, my investment is $102,000. And that's all I had to put down. Now there is a first mortgage on this property in the original amount of $250,000. So realistically, I have liabilities up to about $350,000, but wow, the property is worth, over $550,000.
You're not sharing your screen. Can you just change your screen?
Oh, sorry about that.
So good.
Okay, I just went through a lot then. this is the property I'm referencing. It's right across the street from a little college right there, rentable
Yeah.
all day, every day. And I do mean it is right across the street from it. Everything's good about it. Low crime, nice, cute little neighborhood. Everything around it's good. And this property again this was actually an HOA lien. And as a result, it went to sale. There's some nuances to HOAs, but regardless, there is a first mortgage in the original amount of $250,000. I bought the HOA for $102,000. There's no second mortgage or anything else. And the property is worth over $550,000. And as a nonprofit, there's no deed restrictions, there's no sales restrictions, there's no time restrictions, and no occupancy restrictions. So I can evict the tenants that are in there and then again immediately sell the property for any price that I may choose, or I may rent it long term. And as this is not a first mortgage, I would be subject to that senior lien, of which I can bring it current, keep it current and keep paying it, or I could refinance it out, which I'd probably do. I have unlimited options.
Wow.
And you can see this is, again, there's ones that are very low balance, that are low. There's other ones that sold, and this is only the last 15 days. And notice how there's 399 available. But I can also tag these as certain ones that I may like. And I can look in here and see that these are all different properties and save them so I can track them. In the newest release, we're going to have bid tracking so that we will have reminders sent to somebody when they might want to send out their notice of intent, when those are due, when their bid might be due, and a few other features that I won't mention before it happens because, well, there's a lot when you add stuff to websites. So like this one went to sale, this one doesn't show up because it's past the 15 days. I believe it is at least. But I mean, this just went to sale for $12,000.
Wow.
The property's worth, over 174. It doesn't mean it's a first mortgage. I'm certainly going to check on that, but this is something that's available and that's extremely low cost. So if in the event it's not a first, which it probably isn't, but it doesn't mean that. I've seen ones that went to sale for incredibly low prices and they are and were first mortgages.
So your question is, how do you submit payment for a bid like that?
Well, let's check the instructions that are provided to me on this form. So this one, it shows that I do need to submit this notice of intent to bid directly to this company. I can also call them and ask them questions and they'll mention it. But how I do that is by, step 2, before the 45th day. And keep in mind, if I do it on the 40th day, 30th day, there's actually no advantage to it. On the 45th day at 5 p.m., it's done and over with. The only exception is if you're the only one that submits a notice of intent, which is exceptionally rare. Usually there's a bunch of notices of intent submitted because there are people that submit notices of intent on everything. And I submit notices of intent on a lot of things, even when I don't have the capital immediately available, because a lot changes in 45 days.
Sure.
So submit a lot of notices of intent. And that doesn't mean that, again, a lot of people are going to be bidding. Usually very few people do. But I submit the funds directly to the foreclosure trustee, traditionally mailing them in the form of certified funds, making sure they have it before 5 p.m. on the 45th day. And I call the next day to find out if I'm the high bidder. If I am, I'm throwing a party. And if not, they send the funds immediately back to me. And usually takes a day or two at most for that to take place.
So Bill followed up with his question with on LinkedIn. Does a nonprofit need to stay in for any certain amount of time, or how fast can you resell that property?
You can resell it immediately.
That's crazy.
There's no restriction.
Because the nonprofit.
Well, this is why I do this. So again, I'm a big fan of notes. Notes are great. I'm not talking shit on notes. There's a lot of opportunity with notes.
Yeah.
But as a note holder, one has to worry about getting sued by the homeowner by buying bad paper, such as that it hasn't been collected upon for years. It's delinquent for years and have to worry about laches and getting sued for that. I can worry about defects within the paper. I can have to worry about just this dragging out for years on end, as it can take years to foreclose in some places. I'm skipping to the end.
Yeah.
I could worry about having to be licensed or just laws changing, quite honestly. None of that applies to me anymore when I do this. I have become lazy in some ways, and I just have to skip to the end. And all I need to do is pick the winning racehorse, because I also know people that are friends, and I've quite honestly bid on some of their properties because they were very happy when it went to sale. And I have the ability to buy it again for the price for which it went to sale.
Yeah.
And
So Nick followed up his question before he asked about how do you submit payment? He was looking about the minimum and maximum bid situation, I guess.
your bid takes place in the form of certified funds. So your money does the talking, but I personally submit written instructions with it. And I usually give them two checks, one in the opening amount and the other to cover the difference. So in the one I showed you, that was my bid in the amount of $50,000. I submitted a $50,000 certified check, and my high bid was 102. So I had an additional check of 52,000.
So if it comes to.
So like this property that I'm looking at right here that went to sale for 62,000, I of course can submit a bid for $62,862 and have a high bid of, I don't know, whatever it is, 125. And let's see, because somebody's going, oh, it's definitely a second lien. It's actually probably not. And everything's
if it's
automated.
below that maximum, I presume they just give you the difference back, or how does that work?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Oh, look, it's the first mortgage. It's the only mortgage on there. Now, keep in mind, I don't know why this guy lost his house, but I also don't care. I don't know how he bought this house. Actually, he bought it a long time ago and just refinanced a bunch of times. I'd want to double check and make sure these things are released, but a 1994 mortgage and a 1990 mortgage, come on, those things are going to be gone. Yeah. But I just triple check on it, but nonetheless, that's why we have these title reports. But anyway, this guy has his house for 2019 for 55,000. They refinanced it for whatever reason, that probably passed away. But yeah. I mean, this is amazing, and it really is worth, the price that we're looking at. And of course, I would confirm things with the local realtor. How long would it take to sell the property? Get some of the local knowledge and get their opinion on it. And they're thrilled because they're not talking about me acquiring the property after 2 years of a foreclosure. This is me buying the property now and wanting to sell it right away.
Gotcha.
So I can buy it for anything over 62,000 and change, and I can sell it for whatever I want. Or I can do a seller carryback, or I would never do a lease option because those are scams, but whatever. I can do anything you want. As again, it's most often because with a lot of the programs that are out there, especially creative financing, they'll talk about some very creative ways to make money and maximize capital, but they almost never cover the most important part, that how does one acquire these properties at a price at which allows these other things to take place. Well, this is what I'm doing. This is how I do it, and this is why I do it. And at least for the moment, I'm making it available to other individuals, and the cost is, of course, $50 a month.
Wow. Amazing. So Matt,
and keep in mind, if somebody doesn't want to do this and they just want to fund individuals that do, give me a call. We are happy to partner with individuals and do these sorts of things.
Yeah. So guys, this is another way to get into real estate, and you're really controlling what you're doing, and your time frame is much more reduced than anything else, right? And you don't got to hold anything. So if you do want to keep it, great. If you don't, you're just scoring numbers. It's all about the numbers here. Yeah. This is awesome. So I know Nathan's muted. He's still in limbo and somewhere in Canada, right?
Well, if he wants a house, he can get a house this way. But again, he's in the state of California. Like again, this one in Reseda went for 582,000 and it's worth over $1 million. Oof, that's worth looking at.
Yeah. And do you provide this in any way, in any kind of spreadsheet that people can quickly analyze?
In one of the releases, there'll be the ability to export everything to a CSV.
Awesome. Awesome.
But like I said, this is just what I built for myself. We decided to make it available to others. And this is why I'm buying real property. Again, notes are great, but notes tend to be available in large quantities. It's tough to purchase on the small end and just try to fight over the individual notes that come out, but at least going through the aggregating website. But this is one, they are all available. It is purchased direct, and that is that you do not need homeowner approval. One does not need lender approval from the bank to be able to sell this. These are not short sales. These are nothing else. These are buying foreclosed properties. These are things that already happened. There is no redemption period. The only exception is on HOA liens, there is a 45-day right of redemption. for the homeowner. But keep in mind, even with HOA sales, that means they didn't pay their HOA for a very long time. They didn't pay the HOA dues while it was actually going through the foreclosure process, and they didn't pay it the first 45 days after it went to foreclosure sale. So on that one that I bought in Buena Park, I only have about a month left, and then I get title to the property. But other ones, I get title immediately, and you can buy it on day one, sell it on day two. There's a lot of different options that are available.
Awesome.
And these results are updated daily. You see, these are actually just from yesterday, and they have 15 days. One has 15 days to submit a notice of intent. And of course, an additional 30 days before the actual bid is due, if one even wants to submit a bid.
It's amazing that this is available. It's amazing that this has come out. And like you said before, the reason it came out was not to help investors. It was truly to solve a problem. Right.
California does have a housing problem, and this is one of the solutions. Whereas individuals like myself can buy this for less than market value or for any price that is most appropriate, and be able to sell it to others, creating opportunity. Yeah. Creating affordable housing. And the law was originally, again, when implemented, was only going to 2025. Because of its wild success, it has already been extended to 2030.
Wow. How many bids are you estimating every individual house, or on average a house gets? What's the max you think people are making offers on properties?
Usually 2 or 3.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, because originally when I started out, I was bidding on the top 1%, like the absolute best properties in the state of California with the highest margins and the craziest opportunity, and I'd lowball them. No shit, I would actually lose. So there's a lot that I learned over time in actually my bidding strategy, where and what properties that I would target. But I've noticed that realistically, even when I would lose on some of the bids that I've submitted, and I've done that a decent amount, especially as a learning curve, quite honestly, I would only lose to like 1 or 2 other bidders. I would think there would be significant competition for some of these, but there's just not. And part of it is because this law is designed by everything that was put into it to create opportunity and a niche and a nuance for somebody like myself, an individual, whether as a California nonprofit or as a prospective owner occupant. Because I do have some friends that are looking to buy properties for their kids and other individuals, and they just can't find property in another way. So this is something that, again, is a right, and it's not a hustle. This is something that's going to be around, will stick around for a long time. The inventory is daily, it is considerable, and it's just going up because there's going to be more and more and more foreclosures. And with the more foreclosures, there does tend to be more opportunity, as I'm not trying to buy the entire market. I get to buy an individual targeted investment. And unlike notes, unlike buying on the courthouse steps, where sometimes they even have 5 minutes to make a decision, I have 45 days.
You can do so much due diligence.
I can do it, and it doesn't require licensure. I can talk to real estate agents. I brought contractors to properties to look at things. I'm not limited on my options. One does not have the right to go inside the property and look at it, but one can ask nicely. You can ask any questions. And I can also say that I can understand about 90% of problems that occur within a house just by looking at the outside of it.
Yeah.
Looking at the grading, looking to see if there's any issues, if there's water collection in certain areas. If the trees are too close to the house, there's a lot of things that I can actually look for, none of which really apply to me, but those are things that I can look for if I so choose. I have a local realtor opinion, you name it. And by the way, a lot of these properties were listed for sale at some point, whether a short sale couldn't close, somebody didn't agree with the amount of money, you name it. And I can actually just contact those realtors and ask them questions. Again, I'm not limited on what I can do. Whereas again, with notes, often there are limitations, and that's especially because of some of the disclosures that are signed, some of the questions that can be asked. There is a level of privacy that's involved because this is privileged and highly confidential information. Everything that I'm talking about and is involved in this website is public information, and there's no limits on it.
Sure. So the only, I guess,
so you understand, I still love notes. Again, love it. We're still doing a lot of the same thing.
So it's funny, we talked about this in our mastermind.
I'm just skipping ahead, and I just want the property at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, first off, we're investors first. Next, we're real estate investors. Next, we're note investors. But if something comes along a better deal, we're going to jump on that better deal while something else may not be. We're all investors per se.
And I do it because I believe in what I do.
Yeah. Shaw asked, it made the only negative comment that he says that because you spoke about it, it's become popular now. So
Yeah, I know.
he's hoping you'd have a one-on-one only, right? But
Yeah, no,
there's plenty of
keep
properties.
in mind, I've actually done zero marketing in regards to the website. Like I haven't paid advertisements. I haven't tried to get a lot of people involved in this.
Talking.
And I'm always torn because I know this, I feel it could, and a lot of people have told me, which, you know, I have my own skepticism about. I understand this is the potential to go as big as Property Radar. And keep in mind, I'm not competing with Property Radar, Foreclosure Radar, or any of those companies, because that is prior to the foreclosure sale. That's things that are going up on the foreclosure steps. I don't worry about what might happen because the best deals, if I'm tracking sales as I did many years ago buying on the courthouse steps, which I have done, well, I don't worry about the what ifs. Is it going to be postponed due to bankruptcy, litigation, modification attempt? The best deals don't usually go to sale. Everything on the site has gone to sale. So I don't worry about the what ifs. This is also nothing like auction.com where they say bank owned properties, because that's after the 45-day process. This is a very unique niche. We're the only website that does this, the only one that has all these site data and documents and everything that's available. And the fun part is you want to do it on your own, call the foreclosure trustee, see what needs to be on that form. They're not going to tell you because they say we don't give legal advice.
Sure.
So we are here to help. I'm available. And my email address was provided. The phone number is wrong, but whatever, it's posted in the Facebook group.
Guys, just go to the website. You can find everything out you want on there. All
And you
the
can
details.
contact me that way as well.
Yeah.
And it's $50.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to get into something that's not talked about yet, too big, jump in now, get exploring. It's California. Most investors, I looked at our thousands of contacts we have, and I would say it's Florida, it's California, New York, and Florida, the top 3 states people come from. If you're in California, this is almost a shoe-in. If you're not in California,
you can still do it because you can have a California nonprofit. You're not required to be a resident to have a California nonprofit.
Or if you want to do this passively, reach out to Matt and set up the fact that you can fund the fund itself.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people going to be doing this.
Yeah.
So there's lots of opportunity. There's lots of possibility. It's individual properties. The inventory changes on a daily basis because there are foreclosures on a daily basis. And again, there's certain areas that, again, we feel are more vulnerable than others. I have preferences as to certain areas, types of properties, you name it. There's no limitations as to the nuances that are involved. And we do take a lot into our risk threshold, as I know you do, Dave, with your calculator. And if somebody has calculators, you can use them all day long as to all this stuff to figure out your bidding strategy, you name it, as there's very close similarities when it comes to notes as to acquiring real property.
Yeah. And for those who, are curious about this stuff, just look into it. If you're unsure about what you may have seen or what your thought, just go look into it. AfterAuctionBid.com is a website. Someone just asked about what that website was.
I hear they can watch this on YouTube.
Yes, they can replay and watch it on YouTube, guys. So please feel free to reach out. Go look at the website. I know Nathan is floating in airspace right now, so he apologizes for not being live and be able to talk too much. But dive into this thing. We're going to let you guys go disconnect from the live feed. If you have any questions, reach out. Watch the recording. We'll have it on our podcast and everything else. So I'm going to disconnect from the public. I'm going to talk to Matt and Nathan for a few minutes afterwards, but enjoy,
Appreciate
guys.
your time.
Enjoy
and
your
everyone.
Friday. Have
Thank
fun.
you so much. You got it.